Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Hey there, ever wonder why some people seem to age faster and struggle with their health, while others stay vibrant and youthful? They look fantastic. They're always healthy. Today, we're going to talk about the top disruptors that are disrupting your longevity, disrupting your health. We're even going to talk about sunscreen or not sunscreen and why sunscreen could actually be making you age faster. So you're going to want to listen to this episode today. I'm Rob.
I'm Randy.
And we are
the Happy Healthy Guys. What is up, guys? Welcome back. This is going to be fun. We got a lot to talk about, man. Let's make it happen right now.
Let's do it. All right. So on the last episode, we were answering questions that you send into us. Thank you so much for sending your questions into us. One of the questions that we get.
Hey, really quick, if they have questions, where should they send those questions, Dr. Rob?
They could go to on Instagram, the 2 life on Instagram. And you can always send us your questions at info@h2thinvirtual.com. That's info@h2thinvirtual.com. And we will answer those questions here live for you and even give you a shout out for asking the question. So one of the questions that we get a lot is, what are some of the things that you guys do to be able to help keep you young and vibrant? I know my maturity level is about my metabolic age, which is about a 13, which is actually true.
Well, I was going to say that took a hard left turn there. We're going to have this podcast about your level of maturity. I don't know that we carved out enough time to go down those roads. They're many and lengthy.
Yeah, there are. And there's
I'm very mature.
There's a reason why I talk to my therapist on a weekly basis. True story.
True story.
So we do get this question quite a bit. Anytime we're out and about, people are always asking us questions about it. We always, we like to ask the question when they're like, "How old are you guys?" We always follow that up with a question. Well, how old do you think I am? Right?
Because you're fishing for the compliment.
Yeah, you're fishing for the compliment. Or I think it's also different for a guy. It's not like we care as much as some women may, allegedly. I know my mom stopped telling me what her age was when she was about, 35. And now she's still offended to this day if I ask her the question.
Confession on that, ladies. If you ever ask a man, how old do you think I am? Just so you know, he's going to guess about 10 years younger than he actually thinks. So you're really not going to get an honest answer because there's no possible scenario where I want to guess a woman's age and actually guess over on accident. I don't know that that's going to be good for my health and my long-term longevity strategy. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Good point. Yeah, that is not a win-win conversation.
Not at all.
So yeah, okay, let's talk about the sunscreen. Let's just go right there. So I know right now, especially it being in the middle of the summer, you always see people posting on social media that they've got their sunscreen that they're putting on. I know you see it at the pool. People are spraying this stuff on. Is using sunscreen helpful for a healthier longevity?
Yeah, no, that is a hot topic. I've got a couple of stories wrapped around this, but the simple answer is, I always think about, sunscreen's only been around for what, maybe 50, 80 years, potentially at 100 at most. I would say probably only about 50 years old. And the sun's been around since the beginning of time. So you really have to ask yourself, is the sun really making us all sick and causing cancer because God made the sun, or is maybe the chemicals that men have made that have now been recently introduced into our culture with skin cancer and more chronic illness more than ever before? Maybe that's something to look at. Recently, I had gone to see my esthetician, and she's an incredible lady, does a great job, has a pretty amazing ability to do facial massage. She's trained in Turkey, and it's this phenomenal technique she uses, which I love. But she, when I first went to go see her, she said, "Hey, make sure that you're wearing sunscreen every single day." And I'm like, "Well, why would I be wanting to wear sunscreen?" She goes, "Well, if you don't wear sunscreen, it's going to cause your skin to age quicker. And it's also, you're going to be at high risk for skin cancer." Yet, as she's examining my face the whole time on our initial consult, she's accusing me of using Botox. She could not believe how tight my pores were, how smooth my skin was. And I had told her, I haven't used sunscreen in 25 years. I'm in the sun every single day. I don't slather on a bunch of expensive seed oil based cosmetic products. I really just use, as y'all probably know, I use SCT oil, shameless plug, short chain triglyceride oil on my face. I don't put chemicals in or on my body or in my body. And so it was really mind blowing to her because it was kind of like that level of cognitive dissonance where you wind up at a place where you're saying something, yet the data is telling you that it's just not true. So another quick story before we go into that. What do you think about that, Dr. Rob? Because we both, and we do get asked a lot, like, what do you guys do for your skincare? And I know you're like me, you're in the sun every single day. And of course, you've got that amazing Latin skin, that nice olive color, but I know that you've got incredible skin too. What would you say to that too? Because I know you always say you had to make decisions about your kids. Did you ever slather a bunch of sunscreen on your kids? Were you ever putting it on before? Kind of what was that eye-opening moment for you? Because once again, I'm 50 years old. I stopped using sunscreen at 25 years old, 25 years ago.
Yeah, so I've never in my life put sunscreen on my body.
It wasn't even as a kid, they never put it on you?
Never put it on
Wow.
as a kid. And even my kids never put it on them. They don't really even know what it is. And so it was just one of those things. It just didn't ever happen. However, the more that I researched it, because obviously other people and as holistic doctors, people are always asking us questions about that. And when you start looking at the research and you start looking at the chemicals that are in it, it's like, why in the world would I put that on my skin to begin with? So you have things like oxybenzone. So that right there is an endocrine disruptor, meaning it's going to interfere with your hormone levels. Okay. And so that can contribute to, so that contributes to conditions like infertility, early puberty. Why in the heck would I want to put that onto my kids? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you start looking at it. And you've got octinoxate. It is also a hormone disruptor. So you can see another hormone mimic or another estrogen mimicking chemical in the body, again, leading to hormonal imbalances. So when we talk about hormones and you disrupt your hormones, there's a whole hormone cascade that's going on. So it's not just disrupting one thing, it's disrupting the entire thing. It's no wonder people have thyroid issues.
I know, and that's what I don't think they understand. Whatever you put on your skin is getting into your bloodstream. So they're so diligent. And I know that we are, and I know a lot of you listening probably are. You're diligent about what you eat and what goes into your body. Yet, are you really thinking about what you're putting on your skin? In fact, there's a chemical called homosalate that they use in these sunscreens to drive it and penetrate it deeper under the skin to get it into your system. So when you're putting this stuff on, you're disrupting your entire endocrine profile. So when you start thinking about, is the sun really causing cancer? I don't know of any chemicals in the sun that are endocrine disruptors that mimic estrogen and that cause endocrine disruption to the entire body. Yet all of these chemicals that we're breathing, putting on our skin, they're literally making us sick. And so I was talking to a guy this last weekend at my nephew Austin's football game, which, by the way, loving watching this little dude play. So fun. He's 8 years old. And there was a guy there. He's a really good friend of my brother and their family. And I'm not going to use his name, but he's a really nice guy. And I was talking to him, and everybody kept coming up to him after the game asking how he was doing. And so I finally said, "Hey, what happened? What are you going through?" I don't know if he had a family emergency, if somebody had died in his family. And he goes, "Man, I keep getting all these skin cancers all over my face, all over my head. And the doctors keep going in and cutting them off my head and my neck." And as I'm looking at the guy, it's starting to register. He's the guy who's got the sunscreen like SPF 80 all over his face and neck. You can see the creamy white texture.
I know the guy.
You know what I'm talking about. All over his face and neck. He's wearing the hat. He's wearing sunglasses. He's obviously wearing long sleeve shirts in the middle of an 85 to 95-degree day outside. He is terrified of the sun because the doctors have told him that he is getting these skin cancers because he's out in the sun. And so he's taking every precaution to not get any access to the sun. So you think about it, you're indoors all day under artificial light, you're slathering on sunscreen, you're wearing a hat, you're putting on sunglasses, which, by the way, guys, when you put on sunglasses, you lose the ability to do what's called photomodulation, biophotomodulation. Your eyes play a huge role with how much sun you're getting and what your body's doing with it. If you burn very easily by being out in the sun, there could be a reason. One of the reasons why is that you're wearing sunglasses and you never let your eyes get involved in modulating the sunlight as it hits the skin. Very, very important. So this is a guy who's completely into the medical system, following all of their advice, yet this has been going on for years. It keeps getting worse and he can't figure out what's going on. It's pretty scary if you think about it. Yet they've told him it's the sun. Who's thinking maybe it isn't the sun? Maybe it's even, they haven't even asked him what he's eating, because we know that when you eat PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acid, or linoleic acid, that omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acid, that actually causes your skin to burn because of all the breakdown aldehyde products that cause oxidative stress, which we may go into a little bit later when it comes to mitochondrial longevity. But this is a crazy phenomenon. And when you start looking at it, you know, if the sun caused cancer, especially melanoma cancer, which is very, very dangerous type of cancer, then you would think the people that live closest to the equator, where they're getting more UVA and more UVB, they would have the highest rates of cancer. And when you look at the data, the lowest rates of melanoma cancer are always around regions nearest the equator. If you take a plant out of the sun, it is going to die. Just like plants who use photosynthesis, who use modulation, photomodulation. If you take a human out of the sun, we are going to get sick and we are going to die. Interesting food for thought.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And you know, and then you also have other chemicals that are in there, like octocrylene, which creates more free radicals, which we already know that right there speeds up the aging process.
Absolutely. Wrinkles the skin like crazy.
Yep. You've got the retinol palmitate, which also does the exact same thing with the free radicals. And then you have all the synthetic fragrances and who knows what in the world else is inside there. So those really are one of the biggest contributors to really unhealthy longevity, because it's all wrapped into the same package as environmental toxins.
Yeah.
These are environmental toxins that you're putting onto the body, which creates hormonal disruption. They they really impact the environment as well. If you've ever been at a pool in the person spraying the sunscreen and everybody else is getting sprayed,
that should be illegal, by the way.
One thing that probably triggers you more than anything in the world.
It's a huge trigger. How can you stand up and start spraying yourself all over the place? The wind picks up, it's blowing it onto you. And then the worst part, you see them get their kids and they're just spraying them head to toe with all these endocrine disruptors. And you're thinking, well, that's fine. They're kids. They don't want to get sunburned. Yet these are the same kids with cancer that end up obese, that are chronically ill, and nobody can figure it out. And it's not one thing, but it's a multitude of things. Chemicals, guys, literally destroy the human body. Your body is literally trying to protect itself at all times from chemicals. So most of the symptoms people have that we blame on viruses and bacteria and these imaginary things that we can't even see that are supposed to be all making us sick, really what your body's doing, it has a periodically it's going to shut down and stop, because it's got to get rid of all the toxins and all the chemicals, and you're going to feel horrible. But really, that's what it boils down to, is your body to live a long, healthy life, to live a life that's vibrant and healthy for 80 to 120 years. You have to avoid toxins, and your body, you have to support your body at just trying to eliminate toxins.
Yeah. So, and again, you know, if you're that person that has really, really, really light, pale skin, and you're just wanting to make sure that you just don't burn yourself, Yeah, just wear protective clothing. Make sure that, seek the, get yourself in the shade, but don't try to avoid the sun by slathering a bunch of these chemicals on your body, because in the long run, you're not going to win like that. So there's definitely things that you can do.
Yeah, and stop
to
wearing sunglasses. Get your eyes sensitive to the sun a little bit. A lot of you guys are burning because you're wearing sunglasses. You're not, even if you're like you have light eyes and it's hard to get sunlight, start out maybe 30 seconds. You don't have to look directly into the sun, but morning sun can be so important for you. Get used to that. Stop wearing sunglasses. Stop eating industrial seed oil. Omega-6 is going to cause your skin to burn. If you've ever seen that person, it's like a different looking burn. It's like this lobster red crayfish color. It's a seed oil burn. You should never, ever burn like that. So stop wearing sunglasses, stop eating seed oil. There's even certain vegetables like celery that has certain chemicals that will aggregate into the tissue that will actually make your skin burn like crazy. So if you're not able to get out in the sun for a few minutes periodically, maybe some of those reasons are why. You got to work yourself up. Plus, also this, Dr. Rob, sunlight is like charging your human battery. Okay, so if you're not out in the sunlight, you're not getting a charge that is vital to your overall health and longevity. In fact, the mitochondria, which are the energy producing centers of all the cells in your body, 2/3 of their requirements of electrons and energy come from sunlight. That's right. It's not from the food that you eat. It is actually from sunlight. So you're robbing your body of all these free electrons that you get to help energize your body and produce energy.
It's funny because we've all been so programmed, hey, get out of the sun. I was just when I was on my way over here, I stopped by a coffee shop that we go to and we always talk about. And as I was walking outside, I saw a friend of mine who was sitting at a table. And as I was talking to her, she is a friend of the family and was talking to her for a bit. And she's like, Rob, you're like standing right in the direct sunlight. Do you need to move over? And I'm like, no, I'm actually standing here on purpose because of exactly that, is making sure that I'm recharging my body. So
hey, I would really quickly too, I'm going to play devil's advocate, because I had a conversation with my brother's mother-in-law, which I love to death. If she's listening to this episode, Kathy, I love you. But we were in Spain and we were talking about the sun because she noticed I'm always in it. And she even knows my history with cancer, which obviously wasn't caused by the sun. It was caused by a lack of sun and using sunscreens and other chemicals and other mistakes I was making. But I gave her the example, if you take a plant out of the sun, it dies. She said, yeah, but if you leave a plant too long in the sun, it also dies. I was like, okay, good point. But it isn't the sun causing the plant to die. It's dehydration that's causing the plant to die. It's a lack of nutrients, a malnutrition that will be causing the plant to die. The sun wasn't killing the plant. It was the lack of water, because you take that same plant and give it what it needs, it will thrive, and it will definitely thrive under sunlight. So remember, it's not the sun. It's definitely something going on the inside. But the sun has really become the proverbial punching bag, because it's so much more fun to blame something that you can't control per se, that now makes you a victim. What I'm going to tell you right now, skin cancer is worse than it's ever been at any point in recorded history. I think that's not even debatable. That is a fact. More people are indoors. They're under artificial light. They're wearing sunglasses. They're wearing sunscreen. They're definitely not getting in it. They're not getting it into their eyes, onto their body. So it just doesn't make any sense. And I always go, hey, God created the sun. Who made the sunscreen? Sometimes you just got to think commonly. God doesn't make things that make us sick. God's making things that are vibrant for us, that are free, that you get to use to be at your best. So just wanted to throw that out there. Sun, too much of anything could potentially be dangerous, but that would fall into any category. You just can't pick on the sun and villainize it and say it's the problem. More people are dying from a lack of sun than too much sun. That's a scientific fact.
Absolutely. So what you're saying then is make sure that you create an environment in your body where things like that, like this damage that could be caused from anything that there's too much of, is less likely to happen. So in doing that, so it all goes back to healthy longevity. So We've got time to go over one more point as far as the solution goes for
Hey,
today.
really quickly, you see that comment there? Sunscreen ruins the environment and the reefs and more.
Amen to that.
Yeah, no doubt it does. In fact, remember when we are in Mexico, in fact, our retreat coming up in those pure cenotes where that water is so crystal clear and preserved, and you can see down 80 feet to the bottom clear. You have to shower. They will not let you even get into these cenotes with any sunscreen on because they're so toxic and damaging to the environment.
Yeah, when I was in Hawaii back in gosh, that was the beginning of August, late July, whenever that was, there at Waikiki Beach, I got into the ocean and I had to get out immediately. There was a white film across all of the water, all there at Waikiki. It was freaking disgusting. It was, and I was, so got out, rinsed myself off.
This was how many years ago?
This was a couple months ago. So,
in your most recent trip.
Yeah.
Just then it probably wasn't that way 20 years ago.
Probably not. So yeah, it was gross. So, all right. One of the things when it comes to healthy longevity, and it's something that we always touch on, is poor diet, which we don't ever talk about diet because everybody thinks that a diet is reducing calories. We talk about nutrient deficiency, right? So if you're not eating things that are rich in nutrients for your body, that can also contribute to advanced aging as well, right?
No doubt about it.
So what would you say then are, if there's one thing that people are lacking nutrient-wise that they need in order to be able to have healthy longevity, what would you say that one nutrient would be?
The one nutrient?
Yeah.
Man, it's hard to.
Oh, I know it's hard, but if there was or one thing or one food that somebody needs to be able to make sure that they're getting into their body in order to be able to have a healthier longevity, what would you say that is?
Yeah, it would have to be animal-based nutrition. So it's got to be meat. Because there's just too many bioavailable critical key nutrients and amino acids you can't get them from other sources. You can get them, they're just not going to be as complete and they're not going to be as bioavailable. So another reason you start thinking about the medical industry and the narrative that we're told obviously goes into staying out of the sun, right? Because that's going to kill you. They're also telling us stop eating meat because meat literally causes cancer, heart disease, and makes you sick, when we know that eating meat is the most important thing that you can do. Now, listen, eating meat is important to know. You want to pick quality meat. You want to get grass-fed, grass-finished, pastured meat. Not even just grass-fed, grass-finished, because that can even be deceiving.
Totally.
Because you want animals that are outdoors getting what? Sunlight.
Sun. Yeah.
Grazing.
Out in the pasture, because what they're doing now, and I don't know if you've seen these videos of it, where they're showing these green-fed, grass-fed cows that are in these pens with their heads locked in here, and they're just dumping a bunch of grass on them, and they're inside. I'm like, holy smokes. That's why we talk so much about even regenerative agriculture, for example, because they're literally out in a pasture getting sun, eating the green grass. So you got to be careful about where it is that you're getting this meat from.
Yeah, no, the quality of the meat is important. We're not just saying any type of meat. Sometimes eating meat is better than the alternative, but eating quality regenerative agriculture, pasture raised, grass fed, grass finished, the ones that are getting outside, can move, can get sunlight, can actually live like a normal animal would live, that's humanely raised and humanely slaughtered, which is very, very important, which is why it's great to know your rancher, know your butcher. Some of these meats are actually raised in the right way, but the butchers are rinsing the meat in chlorine, which is obviously super toxic to the gut and immune system and to the overall health. So you got to know your butcher, you got to know your rancher. Buying local is always best. There are a lot of great companies out there doing a great job who are butchering the food correctly that you can get in your local grocery store. But I always believe, I know you do too, Dr. Rob, that buying local is great. You want to know, who's involved. How are these animals raised? What did they eat? It does go a really long way when you talk about eating real food nutrition, and there isn't any more bang for your buck. Plus, a lot of the research shows that there's over, I think like over 40 to 50,000 different benefits and nutrients and micronutrients and other things you can't even quantify that are found in meat, found in steak, that are found in this type of animal-based nutrition that you can't even quantify, way more than you would ever find in vegetables. You know, as a lot of you guys know, I really don't eat a lot of vegetables anymore. I used to eat a ton of vegetables when I got sick with cancer 14 years ago. One of the vegetables I was eating the most of was kale. Guys, kale is not a superfood. Okay, it's really a trash plant because one of the reasons, and this is true for a lot of plants, because most plants are poisonous. You can't even eat them, they'll kill you. But one of the benefits of kale is to the soil because it pulls out thallium. It's a heavy metal. It also binds forever chemicals out of the soil. It's a trash plant. It's not a plant you would ever want to eat. Yet I would juice kale. I would put it in my salads, thinking it's a superfood. It's really a garnish that's better used at Pizza Hut, which was the #1 consumer and buyer of kale before it became out of nowhere a health food. So you just can't get the amount of nutrients that are bioavailable that are key to longevity and robust health unless you're eating animal-based. And I know a lot of people out there like, well, you know, I don't want to harm animals, or I don't want to kill animals because, you know, I care about animals. I'm with you on that. We care about animals too. But there's also a level and there's an order of hierarchy. And I don't put an animal above me and my family's health, and neither should you. For something to live, something does have to die. Those are the facts and the way the world works, and we have dominion over animals. And by not eating animals, you're hurting yourself, you're hurting your family, and you're going to be nutrient deficient, especially in heme iron, bioavailable B vitamin nutrients that you need, definitely key amino acids, anserine, carnosine, taurine. Remember, one of the key amino acids your body uses to detoxify from seed oil is carnosine, and you only find it in animal meat. Think about how many vegans are eating seed oil and they're not even getting carnosine because you don't get it from plants. We could go on, but that is the long answer to your question. Pound for pound, no doubt about it, animal-based nutrition is superior, and regenerative agriculture is the way to go.
No, I think it's super helpful for people to be able to know that, especially in this day and age where you have all these people. It's like, you know, that say that I'm vegan or vegetarian.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's interesting too, because I was even thinking, same coffee shop earlier today, there was a lady in there that was asking for all of their vegan options. And when you look around the place, she also looked like she was probably the most unhealthy person in the entire place. Nothing against her as a human being, but her vegetarian diet's not working
Doesn't work
for her. So anyway, just throwing that out there. And I'm sure there's the outlier people that only eat vegetables and they may be healthy and in great shape, but you're talking about 1 out of 100.
Yeah.
So
there's a reason 86% of vegans fall off the wagon and go back to eating meat. Because remember, the only medical treatment for veganism to save them from dying is to give them meat. That is the #1 treatment.
Yeah. So one thing, well, we'll end with this. I think one of the things that, you know, was so essential to healthy longevity, and we could keep on talking about this. In fact, we've got a retreat that's coming up. I'm super excited about. October the 23rd. We're going to be diving deep into healthy longevity there for the participants at this retreat. There's still a couple spots if you want to get in on that. We're going to post the link in the show notes to be able to get there to that retreat, and we'll save you a spot. But one of the things that's key for healthy longevity. Oh, also, we're going to be also talking about a lot of people don't even realize this, but they think about just us having the metabolism program. We also have a Healthy for Life program where we talk all things longevity. That's the program that we have there. People get to learn all the things that we do on a daily basis. And so we're going to be talking about that. We're
diving deep on that in Tulum, and we'll open up the cart, so to say, for that program in Tulum. Which really is the longevity play here. It's all about, you know, that's why we were picked up. A lot of you know we were picked up for a documentary, The Next 50. The new trailer just came out. It's phenomenal. We're so excited. But the real flex isn't getting to 50, it's getting to that next 50. And we really developed strategies that we believe are going to help a lot of us get there, not just survive, but really live there. So I'm excited to relaunch this program and open that back up
Same.
for about, well, I think we're going to have 10 people that we're going to open that up for, which is super exciting.
Yep, same. It's about not surviving, but thriving.
Amen to
in
that.
this next 50. But I'll leave you this. One of the things you want to make sure that you do, and you get plenty of, and I think a lot of people know this, but they don't do it, is make sure that you get plenty of sleep. Sleep is the time that your body is using for you to be able to heal and to repair, which is essential when it comes to healthy longevity. I think in this day and age, with the amount of stress that people have, we were just talking about this before coming on, is just the fact that even all the EMFs that you get from these stupid things right here, if you're listening to us, I'm holding up a cell phone right now. But if you sleep with that cell phone next to your bed, get it away from your bed. It's not contributing at all to your healthy repair at night. We have people that are like, you know what? I have no idea what's going on with me. I can't figure out why it is that I wake up tired every single morning, even though I got 8 hours of sleep. I say, get that phone away from your bed. They do that. Next thing you know, they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much more rested. Or if you got to keep it there for whatever reason, put it on airplane mode at night. Turn that sucker off so that you're not getting those EMFs all night long.
Yeah, unplug your Wi-Fi. It's a simple thing to do as well. Unplug it. It literally, EMF, especially this new 5G, guys, it destroys your mitochondria. It's just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFA, along with processed food and endocrine disrupting chemicals. EMF is that serious. It allows calcium to enter into the cell, causing peroxynitrite, producing horrible oxidative stress, destroying your mitochondria's ability to create energy. And guys, when you cannot create energy, you are now in big trouble, because you can't repair, you can't heal, you can't function. You're on your way to a chronic illness if you're not already there. So EMF is that serious. It is no joke. This is all the more reason to get out in the sun and get there in the morning, right? Get there in the morning, get sun in your eyes. That's going to set all your circadian rhythms. You're going to sleep way better if you get morning sunlight. Another plug for the sun, go sunlight.
Yep. So get your sleep. And that right there, I think we'll wrap it up with that for this episode of the Happy Healthy Life podcast. Tune in next week, and we will dive even deeper into this healthy longevity topic. I know it's a huge thing for people. And you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for listening. Any feedback, we appreciate. You can give us feedback at the H2 Life on Instagram, and you can ask questions there as well. If you love the show, make sure that you rate it. Give us a 5-star rating. Put any comments in there as to why it is that you love the show, because it helps us make a bigger impact in the lives of people for metabolic health and reducing disease. So thank you, and we love you.
God bless you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life, or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.